Hello, MouseHunt. Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome to Feedback Friday for January 6, 2023. Did I get the year right? I got the year right. All right. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hope everyone's doing well today. Hello, Izaku. John, Happy New Year to you as well. Nathan, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Chris is saying, want to publicly apologize for being so critical at the building at the beginning of the event. It was amazing with loads of loot. Thank you. Well, nice of you to say, Chris. I think we were far placed from several weeks ago, thinking the golem parts were hard to get. Maybe, I don't know. KDM, hello. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Izaku with a suggestion feedback: make all event top tier rare maps as rare New Year. It's the best you've done in a map. Hey, well, glad you had fun with the New Year's map as well. It seemed like it was very popular as well. Went over well with a lot of hunters. And, you know, it's kind of a nice fun way to end the event. It was only around for a short time as well. So, hey, kind of short, sweet, extra rewarding. Glad you had some fun with it. Hello, Zap in the chat. Hello to you. Andos Diamond, good morning. Happy Hailstone. Hailstone blasting away. Hello to you, Warren Slayer. Hope you're doing well. Yudashira, nice to see you. Happy New Year as well. Again, Jonathan. Jesco, Happy New Year. Tarako, morning and Happy New Year. Jason, morning to you as well. Hawkeye says, thanks for the ripset. You can thank your golem for surviving such a hostile, warm environment as Queso Geyser, and it must have been the magic of that animated snow that they didn't melt venturing there. Gene, happy belated Christmas. That's an interesting way of putting it. Hope you're doing well, Gene. MJC, will you be able to buff the drop rate of 2023 charm from the LE base? There was a slight hiccup with that actually happened, and lo and behold, some date range checks were not quite right. But yeah, it's the same as in years past as well. So it was a little bit not quite working properly when the new year rolled over there. There's a little bit of a technical hiccup, but all's good now. Yeah, the base will generate charms at the same rate as the previous year's incarnations of that base. Hello, happy New Year to you, Joel, as well. When can we combine charms? What charms are you looking to combine? But we got a little something in the works. We're hoping slowly but surely. You know, it's not an overnight thing because there's many years of charms, but we're slowly hoping to kind of free up that charm slot. I know it's been a popular topic. Feedback Friday we've mentioned before as well. It seemed like the Let It Snow charm was kind of replaced partly by the Festive Spirit, as well as some of the cannons and other things, other ways to get your hands on more golem parts this year. All part of the kind of the design philosophy going forward to free up that charm slot. And we're hoping to bookend that with a bit of a charm overhaul, but it's still kind of in the prototyping design phases, proof of concept. We're kind of iterating on a few ideas, but it's certainly been popular, this idea of kind of fusing charms together so you can never have too many of any one kind. You know, you upgrade them. If you have too many, upgrade them a tier. Okay, now I have half as many. That's a better number of higher quality charms. So we want to keep playing into that, lean into that, have fewer charms, but you can kind of combine them in an interesting way. But still very much so a work in progress. Lewis just typed one by mistake on the Find Friends bar, and hey, my face popped up. Hey, hopefully I was smiling back at you there. Gary, hello, and Happy New Year to you as well. Chris loved the snowstorm mini event. Thought you were going to bring it back the last day before shutdown. Yeah, we were wondering about maybe scheduling another one of those, but it was a little bit of a proof of concept, maybe feedback for next year. Kind of takes me back to many winter hunt. It was a few winter hunts ago. We had like a festive calendar, you remember? And maybe like every Thursday there were more elf mice on the loose, or, you know, some things like that. And so, you know, we already had our hands full kind of overhauling the whole event. Didn't have quite time to put that much extra stuff into it. But, you know, feedback is received well on the event. And so far it seems like everybody had a good time with it. Then lots of great food for thought for next year. Fun extra stuff we can add to it, kind of help send it over the top a little bit more. But glad you enjoyed the animated snowstorm. That blew through for 24 hours there. Zach, will there be any Lunar New Year news this Feedback Friday? I think we'll get into at least a little bit of it, because I think I won't be joining you until the event had started. That might be a good segue here into some Winter Hunt wrap-up reminders. So please help get the word out to all the hunters in your friends group. Use up those scarves as soon as possible. Don't forget to really get the most out of a scarf. You can smash them into an ultimate snowball charm, but that's probably not the best use of it. You need golem parts. Don't forget you're going to need golem parts to use those scarves. So if you're sitting, if you have like 20 scarves in your inventory right now, just do not send out a golem without a scarf on it, all right? Just that golem might catch a cold or something. Make sure it's wrapped up tight with that magical scarf. Because you don't want to be in a situation where you have scars, but you don't have any golem parts left. And remember, you can't, you can get a few golem parts from the workshop. You can still get animated snow from the cannon, but the mice aren't dropping golem parts. So you're getting them much slower during the shutdown week. So don't delay. All right, use them or lose them. Make sure you're using those scarves. That's probably one little pitfall that you might find yourself in on shutdown day, realizing, uh-oh, I still have a few scarves left and I don't have any golem parts. So please, please, please send out every golem with a scarf on it. Remember to browse the shops, pick up any reward items you're interested in, particularly the Queso Cannon Storm base is limited edition. It will not be returning. Don't forget to buy it because as of January 10, it is gone and it's not coming back. And if you didn't buy it, you won't be able to get it. So make sure you get that Queso Cannon Storm base before January 10. Don't wait until, just load the shop right now, actually. If you haven't got it already, go to the shop and pick it up right now to avoid disappointment. Because again, the winter taiga will be completely removed on Tuesday, January 10th. So the region is shut down, the environments all get kind of locked. If you're still in there at that time, the next time you load the game or take a hunt or basically try to interact with something, the King's Guards will escort you, I believe, to the meadow. They drop you off. I think it's the meadow now, not the town of Nadia. So just, heads up there, as well as you can check the news post for a list of items that will melt away. We typically do that maybe about a week later. We don't do that on the exact same day. But shortly thereafter, things like animated snow, excess golem parts, the scarves as well, they will fade away. So you can check the news post for a list. Good rule of thumb, anything in the premium shop, though, does not go away. So Festive Spirit, glazed pecan, hats, things like that, anything you can kind of spend money on doesn't get taken away. That would be an awfully kind of not a great setup for obvious reasons. But then there's no guarantee they'll be useful the next year. That said, seems like pretty positive feedback on the winter hunt. I am hoping we can, do this same style next year with maybe a few tweaks, adjustments, or a few extra things on top. Yamada, you noticed that Festive Spirit doubles Jingle Bells, but there was no Gift of the Day Jingle Bells, eh? Well, maybe good food for thought for next year to have that show up one day. I thought there was maybe one day where there were bells, but maybe not. Maybe it was replaced with something else. Ghosty, Happy New Year to you as well. Analysis there with the old story of the number one, eh? Uh-oh. Ghosty, 100 scarf, no rib. Well, you have a lot of ultimate Dragonbane charms. So, yeah, at this point, if you did do that, you pretty well have enough charms to just stomp on some dragon mice without even needing necessarily the absolute best trap. Draco also loved the animated snowstorm. Is it possible like background color, like black or grayish? It's kind of one thing where, good food for thought, but it is quite the undertaking to kind of have a different tint, dark mode or something like that for the game. So no immediate plans, but it's kind of, it's on our minds now and then. It's just, you have to go through every single interface in the game and kind of tweak it. It's kind of, it sounds simple when you first start, like, oh, this won't be too hard, but when you get into it, it reveals a whole bunch of other things that all need to be done. There's a lot of interface elements that are rendered by an artist, so an artist would have to go and render 2 versions of it, and it might just end up taking us a couple of years to put it together. So it's hard to kind of prioritize that, but it's something that's on our mind. Catherine, the event started slowly. The animated snowstorm helped get it going. It was great after that. It's a tricky spot with the winter hunt. I think it's only natural that you remember sort of the end of the last year, the most rewarding part of it, right? As you level up your golems, it gets more and more rewarding the longer the event goes on. And so it's natural to kind of remember how the last one ended. And then when this one starts, you got to remember, you got to build myself back up a little bit. So I think it's kind of partly human nature and just inherent to the structure of the event, just the way you upgrade golems. And there's definitely some inertia to get over. You build momentum. As your golems level up, you get more hailstones, which lets you fire the cannons more, which gets you cinnamon without having to go back to the hill. And just the more you put into it, you get that ball rolling and you get better and better at the event. So, I think that kind of contributed to maybe at the start a little bit of it feeling it took a little bit to get started, and I think that's the case every year as well. But I'm kind of glad to see, hopefully we can all remember the sentiment we're feeling right now when next year rolls by and remember like, okay, no, once I kind of put in a few days of hunting and level up my golems, it really starts to take off. So if what happened to the Penguin Golem realized the past Golem customization options were missing this year, I just kind of came down to time constraints. We had to kind of pick and choose where to spend our development hours. And last year it was, fewer than 1% of players ever customized a Golem, so that kind of told us it wasn't the best use of our time, and we use that time to add polish and finish up work in other areas. But hopefully it's something we can add next year if we don't have any other more pressing matters. Jonathan, you've used up all your stuff, so back to the floating islands, back to chasing adorned jewels. Well, hey, the winter hunt was a good time to get some jewels as well. Every scarf would be at least one. Analysis, will there be a regular edition of the track base or the train trap? No immediate plans, but it's definitely, something we think about time to time. Look back at previous limited edition items. It certainly happened. The hothouse base comes to mind, the living base comes to mind, and kind of add a new incarnation of it a few years down the road if it is something popular. It's often good creative inspiration as well. Sometimes these LE items are a good workshop for ideas. Ryan, hunting in the Ice Fortress is the best chance of getting a free ultimate charm from Meister. You've gotten 10 already with Festive Spirit active doubled. There's a lot of fun things to do in the Ice Fortress, and hopefully kind of by the time the event was a few weeks into it, hunters started to experience some of that fun synergy of, which cannons do I want to turn on? And you can even remember at the start of the event, why would I ever turn on all three? No way. I want to. These hailstones are precious, but you level up those golems. Like I got to get these hailstones fired. I want to get back to the workshop, start making some more parts, or I want to. If I start using bells on the golems, if I start using some of my excess parts for bells, then I can just keep my hailstones flowing now because my golems are high level. And there's lots of neat little synergies and interactions with Festive Spirit while you're in the Ice Fortress. So, glad that became kind of a fun, climatic moment in the event. And as you kind of got your golem strong and strong, you have to spend more and more time at the Ice Fortress. Warden, eh? What else we got here? Ryan, what were the odds of ribs? 1 to 30, 1 to 50 scarves? I think it would be a little bit more than 50 on average. So it is the nature of that type of reward structure, right? Yeah, you have to have fun with it for what it is. Think of it, I know it's a bit polarizing, but we try to have different reward structures in different areas. And certainly some hunters enjoy the sort of, all or nothing, high stakes, jackpot kind of moment that Queso Geyser has to offer, contrasted with other areas. Floating Islands is, well, there's no instant jackpot. So you have to spend a lot of time here if you really want those really good traps. That's just determination, patience, and perseverance. Sunken City has kind of a hybrid between those two extremes of, okay, Tritus is out there, drops a predatory processor, but along the way you're going to find sand dollars and slowly but surely be able to just purchase a processor from the shop as well. And kind of, we have different sort of mixtures of everything in between there. So that's definitely the identity, though, of the rib is, have fun with it for what it is and knowing it won't appeal to all players. Think of it in a little bit, if you bought raffle tickets, maybe you go to an event of some sort and you go, I'm going to buy a few raffle tickets, and then they raffle off some prizes, and odds are with any large raffle, your raffle tickets probably won't be picked out of the hat, but that's kind of the nature of that game, right? That's kind of the, you have to have fun for what it is, like I said, but then there's other things that don't work that way, and so we try to appeal to a broad selection of players in that sense. But you can also kind of, like sand dollars, every single mouse you catch drops a little bit of gold, and eventually with gold you can get a rib as well. So it's not completely gated behind, you have to get it yourself that way. Nathan looking for a desert heater base, eh? The Queso Cannon Storm base took a little bit of inspiration from that, but I'll say it has a bit of a different vibe. Will MouseHunt ever be independent from browsers on computers, like an application on Steam? I think probably not. Just, can't see the upside to that, and it would kind of be extra maintenance to maintain multiple things, and I don't think it would bring much new to the table. Maybe in terms of helping people discover the game in a new way, but that might be tricky when, even in Steam, you can open up a web browser, hit the Shift tab, open up a web browser, you can have MouseHunt running even on Steam, but I don't know, maybe on different platforms. It's all interesting food for thought. Analysis, the track base is kind of OP, really good for rolling snow charms. You don't have to tell me. I think I had extreme snowball charms arm pretty well the whole event. I think I only took that base off twice the whole event. Even when it was a good gift of the day, I think I only swapped maybe twice there, and it was great fun to use as well. In the fortress, typically that's when I'd put my festive spirit to use, and hey, it's nice synergy of getting extra of those charms as well. So good food for thought. Maybe as the years go by, that might be an interesting reward space for the winter hunt itself, much like the gift of the day base kind of became that identity. Next year we've already kind of have it in pencil. We'd like to do maybe a reward track to help keep the rewards more up and immediate. You can kind of launch and see, oh, here's the things you can get. Opens it up to similar to Halloween, like things like trap skins or even consumables, some charms, festive spirit, a hat, so things like that can go on a reward track. And kind of add a few goalposts to reach for, especially if you're not quite sure where you want to send your golems. It's nice sometimes if the game sets a goal for you on behalf of you as well. So it's something we're considering as well. Hey, could we smash scarves into something? You don't have any more scarves to send out. Yes, you can smash them into an ultimate snowball charm, so that's a bit of the consolation prize. So like I have up there, remember, you need golem parts to use those scarves. So, if you still have any cinnamon or animated snow, make some golems, and any scarves you have, use them. But if you do get stuck, that's kind of all you can do with the scarf is smash them into a charm. Nathan, most of the top king catchers did single cabin. You can just camp it out in the ice fortress maybe, eh? Rowan, one thing, there seems to be no new Ellie trap this year, so I don't thank you for the base, though. Yeah, we're interested on feedback on that. It gets tricky as the years go by. There's that expression, the more of something there are, the less special each one becomes. Or often we don't want to have to force an idea. So I feel like a more healthy design space is when you have a great idea for a special type of trap, base, item, reward, something like that, and like, wow, that's great. Where can we fit that in? Whether it's an adventure reward, you craft it from somewhere, whether it's incorporated into an event, should it be LE or not? And it's tricky when it's the other way around. It's like, well, here's an event, and we just, okay, come up with an idea for a reward. Sometimes it's sort of square peg, round hole, and it's tricky because the timing isn't just right. So often we kind of prefer to go the other way, where we have a great idea for a reward and we test it out. It's like, hey, this is really fun. This is going to work out great. And then we find a place to put it, rather than starting with the empty shelf and try to think, what are we supposed to put on that shelf? Analysis, did anyone ask what the stat of Ribs drop? I don't think we were tracking exact loot that people were getting from golems. Analysis, scarves can be smashed, but why would you do that? Indeed. I mean, you definitely don't want to do it, but if you do get stuck, that's pretty well the only thing you can do. Remember, they will fade away after the event, so you can't keep them for next year. So if you do have a few left over and unfortunately don't have any golem parts left, I mean, you could try to play the Snowball Showdown a few more times if you're close, right? You can get a limb from the showdown, but other than that, I mean, you could smash them into a charm. So at least you can do something with them. Shashri, always keep supplies for the future, just couldn't bear to use everything, so I didn't use my last 3 scarves, so these scarves are just trash after the event. They will be removed from inventory, so you can check the news post for a complete list of items that are going to be removed from inventory, so I would definitely just smash them into those 3 charms. And, it's a tough space, but as the years have gone by, and I mean, we're open to feedback on it, we find if we don't do that, there's some friction to using things. If you've played for a while, if you can remember ice coins in the Winter Hunt, there was an interesting phenomenon where during the event you earn these ice coins and you could go and cash them out for a whole bunch of various loot. So it's almost like golems, but you kind of get to spend and pick what you want, if you will, from the event. And we noticed not even the minority of hunters, but the majority of hunters just didn't spend the coins. It's like, well, what if they add something cool next year? I can't spend them. And that's natural, right? That's kind of a natural slight hesitation of kind of the what if, I don't want to miss out on something. And so by knowing they get taken away, it sort of removes that aspect. And you just have fun and be in the moment and spend them, have fun with them, go ahead, cash out. And, we would find as the years go by, hunters would maybe spend like 10% of their coins. Like, no, I can't. It's too stressful to think if I spend all this, I can't get more of it. And so kind of that's where we're coming from when there's certain things get removed from the inventory, is to kind of help as these events get repeated over the years to know, no, don't worry, I can go in and I can actually have fun with using all my supplies, and I don't have to think about what am I going to miss out on if I use them all. Kind of removes that from that awkward little thought in the back of your mind. I am behind on the chat. Chazard, any plans for overhaul of older areas? That's definitely on our mind, and slowly but surely, Dev Jake's been making great headway there as well. Collaborating with the team and but being able to put his head down on a few areas that need a little bit of love. But also, it's tricky. We're a small team, so we got to kind of choose where we spend our time wisely. Mark, was the 300 grilled cheese from the scarf an inside joke among the devs? No, absolutely not. I mean, kind of our starting point is if I was to hunt in that area, how much loot would I get? And grilled cheese isn't all that hard to get, right? And the scarves are relatively harder to get than grilled cheese. So it was one of the few spots where it's both probably feels very rewarding for someone at that area to get that much cheese all at once. But even as an endgame player, I was like, I used one of my scarves there. Just like, what, if I kind of want to work on a King's Crown, I think I would prefer to do it this way than like actually go and kind of get that windmill spinning for that long. So it was an interesting spot that way. Spugger, you didn't like that the New Year's skin became basically free this year. Feels disrespectful for people who supported the game last year. I mean, interesting, as food for thought. It's kind of, I'm not quite sure maybe what to do about that. It's something we have done for a number of years, is that a skin might be in the premium shop, like kind of an exclusive premium item, and then next year you can get it for your Advent chocolates. So it'd be interesting to hear what other hunters have, how they feel about that as well. It's something we've done for a few years, and it's always a tricky spot to get right in terms of kind of what we sell. Cosmetics are are a good spot for that as well. But it's kind of interesting stuff to see what other hunters think as well. Caitlin asking, will the upcoming birthday event be similar to the previous years, or is there a surprise in the works? It'll be very similar to previous years, so we're a little bit pressed for time in a few areas. It's tricky. Event season's a hard one for us to overhaul more than one event per year. We just don't have the dev hours. Basically, there just are not enough of us. I often think I wish I could pause time, do a whole bunch of work on the game, unpause time, or just clone myself or something. So when I'm asleep, my clone of myself can be working on something. I don't know if other devs quite feel the same way, but I often wish there were more hours in the day. But it's tricky during event season, just because everything's time sensitive, right? You can't really release the winter event in summer, doesn't make any sense. So things have to be timed up with the real world, which means we have to kind of be careful where we spend our time. Nathan, there's a suggestion on Discord to make scarves like unstable items with random scarf golem loot as a prize. Yeah, for sure, but I don't think it's that hard to try to use up your scarves before the end of the event, and really that's what they are. When you send them out on a golem, they give you random stuff, and you have a little bit of agency over what you're going to get that way. So it just might overcomplicate things a little bit. Kind of another idea kicking around was to smash them into a little bit of animated snow. So that if you did have a few scarves left over, if you're in that unfortunate spot, you could smash one or two of them to make a golem and use your last scarf that way. But it gets a little bit awkward with just shutdown time. You kind of want to bring everything to a close without the event lingering around for 8 weeks, with various shutdown phases. So I think it's better leave hunters, you're the players of the game, you're in the driver's seat. You decide, you make the choices of how to use your resources, and you can even make choices of how you want to use things and live with the consequences of how you manage your resources, basically. And then we're not trying to tell you how to, how best to go about things. You get to kind of decide what you want your journey to be. Nicholas, the hailstones had a diminished effect after leveling golems to 10. Yeah, it's just kind of needed to be capped, and I hope you found the event plenty rewarding enough without hailstones being even more plentiful. But they got into a bit of an awkward spot when we were prototyping. We didn't have any cap on it, and toward the end of the event, hailstones started to come in faster than I could even fire them, right? I wait 25 hunts for a golem to come back, and if every 25 hunts I can expend at most 75 hailstones. Soon as all 3 golems start coming back with more 75 hailstones, I just can't get rid of these things anymore. And it gets a little bit of a weird feeling. So, our solution to that was just cap them at level 10. Potato, on the topic of event traps, are there plans for a birthday trap or upgrade module for the Queso Factory trap? It might be a little too soon to go into anything quite that far out. Neuter, kind of thankful that for that, to be honest, as a broke college student, made me really happy. I assume you're going back to talk about the skins there. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like I said, see what other hunters think as well. There's in the terms of what to sell for cash in the game, cosmetics always feel like a little bit of a safer thing if it's an exclusive item you can only buy from the premium shop. You're not kind of missing out on any gameplay things. It doesn't really change the experience of how you play, just kind of what you get to look at while you play. It always feels like it's an okay safe spot, but it's also it can be fun to make sure people can collect things, and that's a big part of the game as well. So hey, it's a balancing act, and one we're always open to kind of fine tuning and trying to find new ways of finding the best balance. And also, so you think it's okay because you're just paying to boast that you got it first for a year? Yeah, it's kind of like the early bird bonus, I guess, early supporter. You get to wear that badge for a whole year. Like, I help support the Winter Hunt by buying this cosmetic trap skin. And hopefully it doesn't have too many bad feelings. I can understand a sense of kind of buyer's remorse, right? It's I'm sure we've all experienced going to a store and you buy something and then the next day it goes on sale and you're like, what? But, hold on, what happened here? And, most stores you can take back and you can, they'll honor the sale price within a certain window. And I'm hoping a year kind of is a long enough time that it feels like, well, okay, I got my money's worth out of that. I got to enjoy it during the Winter Hunt and for, 11 plus months after that. But, it's a tricky balance to get right. Halo Golem sent to the Valor Rift with scars were actually pretty neat. Glad you enjoyed that as well. We're trying to find a good identity for some of the more popular areas, especially. Kind of try to figure out where to spend some of our time fine-tuning that. And the identity we were going for were some powerful Rift charms to help you. Maybe you're doing a Valor Rift push, or you just want some really powerful charms. It was kind of a strong identity that area had, and it was fairly reliable what you were going to get from the Valor Rift when you sent a Golem there. James, any plans to rework rewards for the New Year's map? You really loved it and hope it remains the same for next year. Yeah, it certainly seemed very popular. I mean, it's hard to know an entire year from now what we'll do, but it's good to have that feedback, knowing I had a lot of fun with it. Just kind of, short and sweet. It was an exciting way to end the event as well with 10 hunters on the map. You could certainly finish them in a hurry, right? But we had lots of great feedback on maps. Even next year, maybe exploring... part of me loathes to think about doing this because setting up the Golem loot drops was quite the undertaking here. But overhauling the encounters of all the mice across 3 areas, maybe to have a set of mice that you find across all 3 areas. Similar to how the Glazy, the Snowflake, the Stuck Snowball mouse, and what am I missing? The Joy mouse. You could find them in all 3 areas. Maybe we need a few mice that are just in the encounter pool no matter where you are. Maybe a slightly larger handful. Because even if those are a little bit more rare, even if they're like 3% encounter rate, they're a little bit on the low side. At least if they're in all 3 areas, they were less likely to be the very last mouse on the map. And so hopefully that kind of creates a better cadence and flow to things. But anyway, just kind of food for thought we're chewing on a little bit for next year as well. Yeah, Gene's okay with things that cost money at the first time they're released and free. The following year's collectors on Discord want to be the first to the goodies to get that sticker. You see no problem. Yeah, I guess there's gold as well. Hey, if they're tradable, that's what we do with a lot of things that are on the premium shop is you can get them with real world money or you can buy them with in-game gold as well. And so everything kind of accessible that way. Spire, you think you mixed them up? You meant the Winter Hunt. There's only one New Year skin last year and it stayed premium only. Did we miss one then, maybe? Maybe we missed one. There's a lot of trap skins, so you might have to forgive us if something slipped through the cracks. Over the years, we've been trying to build some tools that kind of help better audit things just as there's more and more items in the game. Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes I use the metaphor as the game keeps on trucking here. We're almost at 15 years. It's a bit like you have a train. And at the start, you have your locomotive and you have like 3 cars on the back of the train and you have a team of 5 mechanics responsible for, the maintenance of this locomotive and the 3 cars. But as the years go by, it's like we're adding more cars to the train, but we can't really afford to add more mechanics to maintain all those cars we're adding to the train. Maybe eventually the train gets so big now you need 2 locomotives pulling this thing as well. And just as more items and more areas get added to the game, it's something we have to kind of be cognizant of, and we have to try to be smart about how we add things to make sure that the cars all work in the same way. So at least when you know how to service the brakes on car 4, car 7 has the exact same braking system. All right, cool. I don't need to learn how that braking system works. And throughout the years, we've gotten better at kind of trying to get that sense of predictability, and that one system works the same way as another system. And some of it's just the iteration, as you can imagine. As the years go by, you find better ways of doing things. You want to adopt those better ways of doing things. But anyway, going on a bit of a tangent there. Hopefully that metaphor makes sense of why a few things maybe slip through the cracks now and then. But, we're trying our best. Hello. Think you had too many throwable snowballs, quite a chore to play. Maybe we can lump them all into a mega throwable snowball. Hello, you will be very glad to hear that exists in the game. Head to the general store and buy yourself some Snowball Showdown dust using your snowballs. So if you have too many snowballs, buy some dust. Don't spend all your snowballs on dust, but buy some dust. And then you get to play fewer, more rewarding games. So you're playing an extra rewarding Snowball Showdown that way. And that's kind of our solution to if you ever have too many snowballs, buy some dust from the general store. I think they cost a couple hundred snowballs, right? There's a lot of numbers to keep in my mind here. Let's go to the general store. 175 snowballs, just shy of 200. So right now even I have 3,100. I don't know if I want to click the Snowball Showdown 3,100 times, but maybe I want to buy 10 dust, right? And that'll get rid of almost 2/3 of all the snowballs I have will just be gone when I buy some dust, and then I can play a few more boards. If it helps as well, let me see if I can find that quickly here. So the number of snowballs to beat a board on average is 34. So if that kind of helps, at least in the whole game's average since the start of the event, on average, probably closer to 35, actually. People on average have to click 35 times to clear a Snowball Showdown board. So that might kind of help decide your ratio. Maybe, start with assuming it's going to take me 50 snowballs to clear every board, and kind of you can do a little bit of sit down and do a little bit of algebra to figure out how many dust to buy. Or just, hey, buy 1 or 2 at a time, play a board. Buy 1 or 2 at a time, play a board. Deb West, can cinnamon be smashed or traded in? Yes, so you can smash it into snowball charms. You need to spend most of your time in the Ice Fortress. There's no time to go back to the Golem Workshop. Yeah, you can smash them into snowball charms. And certainly, you'll kind of always end up with a little spare change of cinnamon because the cannon's going to be giving you some cinnamon. So, Daniel, sneak peek for Lunar New Year. That might be a good segue here to my final point I wanted to remind everybody of, as well as, use that week between the winter hunt shut down. Make sure you're all set to go here. If you want to get a certain spot in an area, I know some hunters like to make sure they're ready to start a Valor Rift run. You got your rage levels all set up in Bristlewoods Rift, the Whisker Woods Rift, to hunt the monstrous Black Widow Mouse. If you want to build a final battery or get stocked up on cheese for Feroma Rift, wherever you're planning to hunt Lunar New Year, it will start on January 17. The event is very, very similar to what it was last year. You claim a lantern. It'll be the rabbit lantern this year. Collect candles. Use the candles to raise the lantern up a reward track. The higher it goes, you get a luck bonus while your lantern is lit. And of course, you get double and triple loot drops while you're burning candles as well. But yeah, I think if you participate in the event the past few years, you'll know exactly what to expect. I'm trying to think of notable changes. I think the red dumpling, Yangauda, has been made more effective this year as well. I believe it will now only attract event mice. If you recall how the stockpile locations would work, you get a few mice from the area and the event mice would be in the mix. And so now if you use the Yangauda cheese, you only get event mice, so it's good for collecting crowns, and of course you get candles faster that way. I think we've brought the power of the red candle collector mouse down to pretty well 1 power. So it's basically a guaranteed catch now. That was maybe a little frustrating. You're using some of that red dumpling cheese, and then the candle painter mouse comes out and you miss it. So just wanted to remove that as a possibility, especially for lower level players. But other than that, you'll know kind of exactly what to expect if you check out how the event worked last year. Definitely Floating Islands has great synergy with that. It works with all those multipliers, so that's definitely, you're getting some big loot drops during the Lunar New Year event. I know a lot of hunters like to put the luck bonus to use in the Valor Rift just to up your catch rate as high as it can go while you're trying to climb that tower and see how high you're going to get. Monstrous Black Widow, I said, as well I mentioned, I think that's a pretty popular choice to be hunting there. I think I'm going to be in the Living Garden. And I know maybe some hunters might think that's not the best use of the bonus, but for me, it's the most fun use of the bonus. So that's where I think I'll be camped out and having the most fun during the event. Lewis, you've been mapping all event. Didn't get to stay at the fortress for too long, eh? Yeah, we tried to have the map skew a little bit more toward the fortress. It's kind of, I wouldn't call it a rough edge because you're getting a reward for traveling around, and you can split up, divide and conquer. It's a team effort as well. But definitely toward the end of the event, you spend more and more time at the Ice Fortress. So, I can understand some hesitation to head back to Cinnamon Hill. So we tried to kind of, especially the New Year's map is, skews more heavily toward Ice Fortress mice. There's even a few mice that weren't on naughty maps, or we ended up removing from naughty maps, but we kept them on the New Year's map, and they're Ice Fortress mice specifically for that purpose, especially considering there's 10 hunters on that map. So we figured even if the mouse is a little rare, there's 10 of you chasing after it. So you definitely have an advantage there. Deb West, Snowball Showdown Dust, 175 is hard to spend that much for just one dust. That's kind of the intention, so that it's there if you feel like you have just way too many snowballs. Like, if you don't want to click that many times, you can play a few very rewarding boards. So it's kind of, it was its intention to make it so that it's not something you would just do automatically, because then you would be back in the stage of, well, now I have too many snowballs. Now I got to play an upgraded Snowball Showdown way too many times. I still have to click thousands of times to get my snowballs thrown. So I think it kind of just has to work that way, where when you upgrade the board, it kind of eats up some snowballs so you can play a few rewarding boards, and everyone can decide for themselves how many boards they want to play that way, and because everyone's going to be a little bit different. Gnooter starred all 3 Winter Hunt locations. I have no idea how. Must have been an active mapper. The Scrooge Mouse was a pain to attract. As the years have gone by, I think the Scrooge Mouse has maintained its preference for Super Brie Plus, if I recall. Gene, same procedure as every year, right? Not to kind of make things sound too procedural here, but hey, it'll be a very similar event to last year, in a few years now. So if you're aware of how the Lunar New Year event worked, you kind of know what to expect. Definitely can kind of maybe check out the great work the wiki editors do to document events of the past, or dig up old guides, search the MouseHunt subreddit, dig up, one of the guides they have, or on the Discord, maybe you can find an archive channel or something like that. I'm sure you could figure out, any strategies employed last year, or kind of advice, tips, and tricks would most certainly apply to the 2023 Lunar New Year event as well. Mel says, isn't Dave always in the Living Garden? Just about. I do need to finish up a little bit of work in Folklore Forest, though. I shouldn't call it work. Some hunting. There's a few goals I have left at Folklore Forest. Then it'll be back to the Living Garden I go. Elusive Luck isn't really useful in the Valor Rift. It doesn't hurt. It certainly doesn't hurt, especially 50 luck. Bought a bunch of Snowball Showdown dust in the shop as well. You did over 130 duster boards. See, that's already quite a bit of clicking. Could you imagine if it was, fewer snowballs per dust? That'd be even a lot more clicking. But hey, everyone can kind of help decide that way. Alex saying some of the lanterns are lit in the vintage section and some are not. I think Giorgio fixed... No, maybe I'm thinking of something else. The codices. So that might be good to jot down. Maybe we can kind of move some of that. That begins to be a bit of a pain as the years go by in terms of finding the most consistent way of doing that. And then some things start to feel a little subjective, where they should go. It's tough. I think Blue Sky, if we had infinite time and resources, overhauling how the inventory works so we don't decide how to organize it, and kind of more tools to empower players to organize their inventory the way they want to have it organized. But I don't see a way of possibly developing that anytime soon. Oh, that might be worth jotting down here. Where's my notes? James going to red candle some Ascended Elders this Lunar New Year for energy. Yeah. Hey, if you got a few scarves left, I think you got quite a few. Was it energy or energy charms? I didn't end up sending any golems to the Froma Rift, but I think that was a pretty good for energy collection. Bishop, what's the top most 5 popular locations to send golems to? You know what? Would you believe it or not? I don't have that handy. That is usually something we log. I do have handy where people used bells on golems. Nope, that's remaining hunts when bells are used. Yeah, I'd have to build that. We log it for some reason. I don't have the chart in front of me. So floating islands, you know, there's probably, I'm going to venture a guess there's a strong correlation between the popularity of an environment and the frequency of using bells on that environment. Floating islands seemed like it was the most popular, followed by Queso Geyser, Table of Contents, Valor Rift, Prologue Pond, Mouse Picchu, Forward Farm, Whisker Woods, Sunken City, Zokor, Froma Rift, and Living Garden. Is that 10? That might be the top 10. Top 12. Yeah, I think that was 12 areas there. I know I did my part to make the Living Garden popular. Golem location. And also, Dave, can we resurrect Calamity Carl? You know, he went to Davy Jones' locker. But he can make it back, eh? Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's up to him, right? I haven't had any news around Calamity Carl. Who knows? He might be at the bottom of the ocean at this point, just walking along the sea floor when the ship sunk. Bishop, any rumors on a new continent? That sure would be fun. Every once in a while, there's a little idea kicking around here and there. It was fun, I think, to expand the map a little bit into the north with the Winter Taiga. I know it's kind of been a little creative thought in the back of our mind for many, many years, is explore what's to the north. So that was kind of fun to at least get the ball rolling on that. Dallas thinks Lunar New Year is fantastic. No changes needed. It's certainly one of the most popular events. It's great. It has such a strong identity. You know, what I love about it is as the years go by, it always feels fresh and new. It never starts to feel, you know, I guess in some ways it could, but as new areas get added to the game, it kind of brings new life to the Lunar New Year event because it just kind of works so well with every area, right? And no matter where you go, mice are usually dropping some loot. So it's interesting no matter where you are. I think that's a great part of its identity. It's kind of trying to find that great identity for a lot of the events as well, so they can have that memorable sort of thing going on when they show up, have an obvious goal in mind of, you know, what am I looking to achieve during this event? Neuter, what happens to Great Winter Taiga after the event? Will it just be a blank slate on the map like the Gloomy Greenwood? You know, I don't think I have it handy. Let me see if I can. I don't know if this qualifies as a spoiler. Yes, thank you. Franco sent it to me the other day because we were talking about it. I don't know if this counts as a spoiler here, but hold on. Let me find my downloads folder. I can show you what the map will look like. Why not? Whoa! High resolution. Do you like resolution? We got resolution. So yeah, Jacob did a great job illustrating not only during the Great Winter Hunt, but afterwards what it looked like, kind of as the cold weather has receded ever so slightly. The Cinnamon Hill, you know, the Cinnamon Grove there likes to grow in colder climates, I guess. The workshop's been disassembled, shut down for the year. The ice dock has melted those supply ships that were running animated snow from the Festive Comet. If you didn't take a look at the map now, because that's awfully cute, I think the Festive Comet did land, as always, and the King was shipping animated snow to be able to use it here where it's needed up by the Ice Fortress, and just kind of a big old empty crater that looks kind of neat, doesn't it? Like the way that turned out. I think Jacob did a great job on the map. It is time to sound my horn. Let's do it. I've had 2 horn calls. That means we got to be at a half hour. Yep, 45 minutes. All right. It's a good time check. How many times I get to sound the horn? Greedy Al. All right, we got him. Dev Giorgio's in the chat. Yeah, but how many golems with scarves did you send to the geyser without getting a rib? Is it as much as me? He did 63. He was playing the rib raffle, the great rib raffle. But it opens up different kind of choice. Like I said, hey, at least you got a lot of Ultimate Dragonbane charms. So do you even need the trap at that point? Because that charm's going to absolutely stomp any dragon mice and put in front of it. Or, some hunters going the route of, well, maybe I'll go floating islands, get some jewels, sell those, and buy the rib. There's, more than one path to victory. Lewis should have the consolation prize, for person who spent the most scars without getting a rib, Well, like I said, hopefully you have fun with it for what it is. I know it's a bit of a polarizing reward structure. Some hunters love kind of high value, high stakes, all or nothing type things, and some hunters like more slow and steady. I'm going to hunt thousands of times, and I will get it after thousands of hunt. That's the geyser, and that's floating islands. Those are probably the two extreme ends of the reward structure, and we have everything in between. So, just have fun with it for what it is, knowing, like I said, that comparison to you go to a carnival and you buy some raffle tickets and they raffle off prizes. When you're getting that raffle ticket, odds are you're not going to get the raffle prize, right? Like that's part of the fun. And kind of if that's not something, people will walk right by the raffle booth and not participate. And, that's kind of, I'm going to go somewhere else and I can go to the marketplace and get a rib with gold anytime I want. I know after enough hunts, I will have enough gold and I can just get the rib without having to try to get it through the raffle that way. So hopefully that makes sense. Ken has to say, I feel a little bit like I'm cheating in the winter hunt rather than gathering items in the area the golems get it, so I'm missing out on that. Hopefully there's a good middle ground there where you at least need to have unlocked the area, so you don't kind of show up without ever having to even know what the area was. And our starting point for what the golems bring back is we go and look. Let me use the lagoon as an example, and I'll just make up some numbers. But let's say after 25 hunts, you find 5 scrap metal. All right, I don't know if that's actually the right number. I'm just making that up on the spot. But where we like to start is, okay, a golem takes 25 hunts to come back. So on average, a golem's going to find 5 scrap metal if you send it to the lagoon. That way, if you get 2 golems going, it's like you have double loot. If you have 3 golems going, it's like you have triple loot. So we kind of start with that so that it's not completely out of alignment with what the area is like in itself. But yeah, you kind of, Sunken City, you miss out on actually exploring the seafloor. That said, there's other goals that just the winter hunt will help you with, but not outright achieve for you. King's Crowns. If you want to get a King's Crown for Tritus, you're going to have to explore the Sunken City. You're going to have to learn how best to use your sub and get some oxygen. That said, the winter hunt's going to help you out with that, right? It's going to supply you with the things to help you navigate the ocean floor, but then you still get to settle in. So, hopefully if you have those feelings where like, oh, I feel like I kind of want to play that area a little bit more, set some stretch goals for yourself. Chase after some King's Crowns. Try to find something in the area that you find fun doing. Set that goal for yourself and see if you can achieve it. Yeah, the other morning we were hanging out here and Giorgio was lamenting at the fact of him not finding a rib after 63 scarves. So on a whim, Franco, after not sending a single golem to the Queso Geyser all winter hunt long, sent one just for kicks, and sure enough, went 1 for 1. So that's the way the cookie crumbles, even if you're a dev sometimes. Mud, who I believe that's Jacob in the chat. Yeah, I should probably ban Franco and send the rib to me. All right. Yeah, Giorgio, go ahead. We'll put Franco in the King Stockade shortly. Set bail at 1 Caloringus rib. No bond, just, ribs or bust here. And yeah, Gregory with a fair point there. Well, at least the cost of that rib did come down a bit, all right? There's been an infusion of supply in the economy. So if you did have your eye on it, it is about 80 million gold less than it used to be. So, hey, it's like there's a sale going on, at least in the marketplace. But, not to dwell on it too much. Way to go, Franco, says Diamond Knight. Udor Yoing had 1 compressed jet stream. That's a good reminder as well. Like, please, 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 as of January 10, the shops are gone. Remember, the Tega is shut down. So please go to the store and just do a shopping spree today. Even if on Monday you want to maybe pick up a few more loose ends. Who knows? Maybe you're busy that day and you don't have time to check in on the game. Go do your shopping spree now, please. Go get the Queso Cannon Storm base. Go get the 2023 Lucky Codex. Get the 2023 base. Buy your compressed jet streams. If you want to upgrade snowball charms, now's a great time to do it. If you have excess animated snow, you can buy snowball charms. You'll be able to, anything with the Hunter's Hammer, the nice thing is even after the event ends, you can still smash things. We won't take them away immediately, but shortly after. So again, don't delay on that. Use it or lose it. Definitely remember January 10. Please try to use up your stuff. And clipped. Wrong platform here. Do they even have clips on YouTube? Nid. Well, shall we? What are we at here? Noon is sneaking up on me here. We should go on over to the trivia. Hopefully I hid the answer. I'm pretty sure I did. Hey, all right, I did. This week's trivia question, and here's a hint, it's looking forward to the next event. Which mouse has a costume with a cheerful demeanor, which provides an effective means of disguise? They do have clips. Uh-oh, I better watch out then. Embarrassing moments will be able to live forever. Squash, you lost count. You think you're at 25 plus with no rib. Not going to complain about the charms, though. Plan on hunting a whole lot of Fulmina Calors later. You do not quite a lifetime supply, but, those ultimate Dragonbane charms are nothing to sneeze at. They're like borderline an ultimate charm against dragons, So, hey, that'll basically upgrade your trap into a whole other stratosphere of power. So, even if you're going to use the Dragon Slayer cannon, that charm is going to elevate any trap to be pretty well the same catch rate. Swift, I think, got the answer correct with the very first guess. Yes, it is indeed the costumed rabbit mouse. Who it is? It is Year of the Rabbit will be upon us. You'll be able to get the Rabbit Lunar Lantern. As always, Lauren has illustrated quite the adorable background illustration for the track as you raise your lantern, dressed it up with a few rabbits here and there. I think she illustrated the first version of that many years ago, so it's usually comes across her desk to do that illustration. Does a great job with it. Always like to check it out, zoom in a little bit, see a few of the details and the Easter eggs. I can put this link in the chat as well for your clicking convenience, unless somebody beats me to it. Where's the chat? Here we go. It is in the chat as well. You can click it easier. Easter eggs, wrong event day, Swift. Well, I mean the expression of a hidden little surprise of an Easter egg. Not necessarily literally one. But Larry, the Friendly Knight, has 5 dumpling cheese for you if you click that link. Give you a little leg up if you're going to be collecting some candles this Lunar New Year, which comes on January. Let me read it, because me and dates don't get along. January 17, the Lunar New Year event will start, which is 1 week after the Great Winter Taiga shuts down. Wow, thanks for the rib. Giorgio, you know as well as anybody that we can't possibly ever make that mistake now, all right? It's not in the drop-down box. When you ask Larry for a reward, it's just not even an option. He's like, I'm not going to hand that out. Deb, is there a location to send golems to collect 2023 charms like last year? So we kind of did away with, so if you remember from last year, you would be able to send your golems to the Festive Comet itself during the New Year's phase, and you got things like pecan cheese, New Year's charms, some Let It Snow charms, etc. Our kind of new attempt, or kind of replacement for that, if you will, was the New Year's maps. And then that way you don't have to kind of decide, well, I guess I'm not going to send my golems to the areas that I was having fun sending them to. But you can still get a big injection of event supplies kind of toward the end, help you kind of reach that few last goals you may have had in mind. And the charms from those maps was rather generous, especially if you dusted the map. You got quite a few charms for doing that map. And then that way it's like you could be getting those rewards that you could get last year, but still playing the event, as you were. Didn't interrupt it and say, well, now I have to send my golem somewhere else. I have to choose between 2 types of rewards. You can just kind of have it all. As gravy on top that way, just for the end of the event. Send things out with a bang, if you will. Fit the fireworks theme there. And adding it to the drop down. Yeah, all right. Add to the claim check as well. Like if user equals Giorgio, then you're allowed to claim it. Swift loved the New Year's maps way better than sending golems to the Comet in previous years. Okay, glad you enjoyed that as well. Hopefully it was kind of a more more synergetic fit. I should stop using that word. Hopefully it was a better fit. So I feel like it didn't interrupt your event as much. You could keep playing it. It just sort of took everything up a notch. You know, it was like you got to hit the nitro booster in your car, but you're still going around the same track. Null says, will Valentine's be a small mini event? And how long does Lunar New Year and Valentine's last? So I don't have the dates in front of me. Lunar New Year, I believe, is a 2-week event, though. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. It tends to be kind of short and sweet. It is very rewarding, kind of very potent event. So it's a little, you know, keep it on the short and sweet side. Valentine's, we have those mice that need to be available. So I'd imagine at least for a few days, we're going to just kind of flip that switch, make sure the mice are out and about. They appear as bonus hunts. So I'll have to just spin that up, make sure everything's working as intended and nothing's broken in the meantime. But yeah, for sure, you know, we have to make those mice available. Giorgio sent me, there is a clip feature now on YouTube. Oh no, I gotta be careful. Thanks for the screenshot there, Giorgio. Yeah, Augusta New Year's maps were amazing. Loved them. Fantastic. Neuter, any update on the plank run, please? Who's the boss mouse that caught them? Unfortunately, that's on the back burner right now. We're kind of working on a bit of a plank run update, but it's tricky. We got a lot of irons in the fire, and there's only so many of us. There's only so many hours in the day, so that's on the back burner. Unfortunately, that's kind of on pause. Hopefully, we can pick it up in the not-too-distant future, but it's kind of in limbo for the moment. Yeah, Jonathan, time for a double epic rib run, eh? Well, yeah, put those Dragonbane charms to good use, right? If you got some wildfire cheese, then head to Queso Geyser. You can bust out your Queso Cannon Storm base potentially as well. If you have using those ultimate Dragonbane charms, you might even be getting an okay catch rate against Kalar, even with the Queso Cannon Storm base. Has good pairing there as well. The Dragonbane Charm is very power focused. That base has a massive power bonus on it as well. So you might be able to get away. I don't know if you'll be able to get, like a 99% catch rate or not, but, probably work fairly well. If not, when you're kind of collecting cheese ingredients, you could be using the base as well if you have some extra amber queso. Remember as well, you can smash some of that loot now into amber queso. So if you do have some smoldering stones, chisels, or thermal springs, you can smash those into amber queso now, and that will power up your base, which does have a chance of finding a rib when it goes off. So you just get more and more opportunities when you use that base. As well as, I'll mention Big Jack is in the works as well. That's kind of a nice, maybe if you want to camp out, get a little bit of bland queso. There's not a whole lot to hunt for when she's here. It's more you show up and use your shop. But, hey, if you got the Queso Cannon Storm base, might be kind of fun to use it there while Big Jack is out and about. But Lunar New Year doesn't duplicate rib drops, so it's maybe not the best place to go for Lunar New Year. But in the week between, maybe you can put your base to good use. The jet stream might be a good time to use as well. If you have that compressed jet stream and you're planning on going to the floating islands for Lunar New Year, I think that's a fun place to go because the multipliers all stack. Then the Jetstream bonus will really help you kind of get wardens faster. It depends on where you want to head to, unless you want to go to the Sky Palace. Jesco sending some good luck to Giorgio there. Oh, Gizmo, many progress on the iOS widget. Still doing a little bit of R&D there. It's Apple's kind of changed how that works, and they're phasing out the kind of homes, kind of the today view screen where you can have an app there, and they kind of want to go in a different direction. So it's kind of still early days there. In the meantime, you can sound it from your notifications. So here, if I can bring it up, I'm sure this will be illegible here. But if you long press your notification, you can sound the horn from your notification. That has become my new version of a widget. So blurry text point blank in front of a camera. Hopefully you got a picture of still. At least you can be doing it that way. And hey, my horn is ready. Last horn of the stream. I should hit the road. It's a winter present. All right. The mouse of winter present. Well, hunters, I should wrap up here as we've clocked over the hour mark here. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Happy New Year. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the Great Winter Hunt. It was great to see a lot of positive feedback in the chat. New Year's maps were a big hit. Glad to see everyone was able to get the ball rolling there, and despite maybe thinking things were off to a bit of a slow start, it's just the nature of the event as well. A little bit of inertia to get over, to really get the ball rolling, get your golems upgraded, get them bringing in more hailstones, spend more time at the ice fortress. We'll keep an eye on feedback as well as as the weeks go by. We like to kind of keep some notes, log that for next year. We're hoping anyway we can bring back the Winter Taiga in 2023. So it'd be great to kind of keep some tabs on player feedback, know what little tweaks, adjustments to make. All good food for thought. Diamond, have a great new year. Psych, back at you. Hit the analysis. That's great. Time to hit the road, Jack. Thanks, Dave. Happy New Year. Same to everybody out there. Thanks for the stream. Happy New Year. You got it. Jia says, just got the rib, baby. Uh-oh. Snowy. Yep, me and my friend clear 3 maps in one day. Yeah, you could definitely get those maps going in a hurry with 10 of you. Next golem got a stone in the spring. Giorgio's still cracking away there. You have a lot of parts to go through, though, Giorgio, at least. So there's hope. There's hope. All right, everybody. Like I said, happy hunting. Have a fantastic weekend. One final reminder, help spread the news to everyone in your hunters group as well. Use up those scarves. Use up those scarves. You don't want to be in a spot where you're out of golem parts, but you have scarves left. Please go to the shop. Don't wait. Do it right now. Go get the Queso Cannon Storm base, because as of January 10, the shops are gone. You won't be able to buy anything from the shop. Cash out now. Cash out now. Cash out now. I know there's going to be a few hunters like, oh, I forgot to do it. So please remind your friends. Do it ASAP, and look forward to the Lunar New Year event coming January 17. All right. Well, it'll probably be Jacob joining in next week if all goes according to plan. If that's the case, then I'll probably see you a couple weeks from now. Again, thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.
1, 2. You're a trap. Don't seem to mind it. You attract me. I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it. Soft and furry. Oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. Don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cool. And just when I think I'm safe, snap.